Will Freeman, RevolutionaryLifestyleDesign.com, talking to you today about why only 0.1% of people will achieve fitness, fame, and financial freedom. You don't have to take my word for it. Just look around on the subway and see how many people out of 100 have all those things. And guess what? If they're on the subway, they don't have financial freedom. How many guys out there that you look at would you trade places with, or that you see as in shape, or have the kind of status that you want, or the financial freedom that you want? And the reason is simple. This is game-changing stuff, but it's really simple. I've got to thank Dr. John DeMartini. I've been pouring through his stuff over the last couple of days, and it's just been revelation after revelation. It's because they don't value it. People do not value fitness, fame, or financial freedom. They think they do, but they don't actually value it. Because when you actually value something, you don't need motivation. You already have inspiration. I'll give you an example. I was watching a podcast with this guy, Manny Koshbin, who came over to the US in 1984 from Iran, after Iran was going through some major political drama, living 6 to a station wagon with his brothers and sisters for the first 3 months. He's 14. That was his entry to the country. No English, getting bullied in school because he's a foreigner. So you get the picture about how brutal his introduction to North America was. And he went and got a job at Kmart and became, employee of the month 12 months in a row. And after that, by the time he was 17, he was doing direct selling. I think he's worth $100 million now. I haven't checked to see if there's exposés on the guy. I don't really care. It's just there's a million of these stories. The guy was in tremendous financial pain. So he didn't need motivation to go get his finances solved. You couldn't pull the guy away from getting his finances solved. Same thing with Grant Cardone. If you watch his story, 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. he's selling cars, or he's selling sales training, just nonstop. And it's inspiration, not motivation. So when you're struggling to find the motivation, a lot of the time it's just because you don't actually value that activity. It's someone else's values, including mine. If you're watching my stuff, but you're still struggling to get motivated on getting to the gym or getting your finances in order, it might be that you just don't have the same values as me, man. Just like I don't have the same values as a lot of those guys who are worth 100 million. It's not that I wouldn't want 100 million. I just know what it takes to get there. And, I'm not willing to go through the pain to go get it. Or the pain to at least go for it. I'm not saying that I could just go get 100 million if I tried. I could very well fail. But I value other things in my life. So, same thing with fitness, right? I like being in shape, but I'm not trying to be a competitive bodybuilder. I'm not willing to put another 100 pounds on my frame, take the insulin, the IGF-1, spend $1,000 a month on drugs, risk liver failure, heart failure, all that stuff. I'm not willing to do whatever it takes. Rich Piano was. He died at 45, but that's what he wanted to do. That was his, it was part of his value system to be 280 pounds lean, to be a monster. So he got exactly what he wanted. And that's the reality of the situation. You just don't value it. Like, if you value financial freedom, you don't need motivation to save money. Most people want financial freedom, but they have a delusional expectation of what it takes. And they want it, but they don't actually value it. And they don't actually have a realistic expectation of what it takes. And what they really value is being a consumer. What they really value is buying things, the car, the house. And so they're willing to go into debt to get it, instead of getting high on the amount that's in their savings account. They get high on the kind of car that they drive and the house that they own that they can't afford. And a lot of times they're willing to work a job that they hate to be able to do that. Same thing with fitness. You know, everybody wants to be fit, but they don't actually really value it. And they don't have necessary idea of what it takes to become fit. And what they actually value is junk food and relaxation and pornography, or whatever it is that they do. When you look around at most people, they don't want to be fit, okay? Because it's not very hard, when you really think about it, to go to the gym 3 times a week for an hour each time. It's not that hard. And even with a half decent diet, that's going to put muscle on your frame. So the same thing with fame, okay? And a lot of people, you know, would want to be a celebrity, but they're not willing to go on social media and blast at their brand and get recognition and get validation. Or some people don't want that at all. They want to be totally anonymous. You know, there's a lot of businessmen that don't want people to know about them. You know, even though those guys are worth 50, 100, 500 million dollars, no one knows about them, and that's how they want to keep things. Because they don't value fame. So some people explicitly want to avoid fame, but there's other people who would like to be famous, but they don't have an accurate picture of what it takes, or not willing to do the work because they don't actually value it. They actually value their leisure time, and this is 99.9% of people prefer leisure time, prefer relaxation, prefer spending their money on things now, prefer to go into debt instead of save, prefer to work a job for a steady paycheck than take the risk of starting a business, even though they know that that's the only way to make the kind of money you need to get financial freedom. Prefer to watch videos about it instead of actually do it. Ultimately, they just don't value that stuff. They think they do, but they don't actually value it. And so then it creates conflict. In the same way that, I don't value fitness, fame, and finances as much as some other guys do that are really pushing hard for $1 billion. I value those things more than 99.9% of people, but a lot less than a lot of other very successful people. And I value quality of life more than that. Quality of life, like not getting hit by that fucking car. I value quality of life, being able to exercise during the day and have sex and, have girlfriends and, eat well, go for coffees and stuff like that. Being able to have some of that, free time, some of that leisure time, some enjoyment. And I really value not having to do things that I hate. I built this inbound marketing machine so I wouldn't have to do cold calls. I hate those. There's nobody that hates sales more than I do. I don't think it's humanly possible to hate outbound sales more than I do. So I built this machine to not have to do that. Even though I know I could go bang out 2 to 4 clients a month just pounding the phones. I'm not going to do it. There's a lot of things that I won't do for money anymore. Things that I had to do in the past, but things that I refuse to do now. And that was one of the major reasons why I pushed so hard for financial freedom. So I didn't have to do what I hated, or I could do it a lot less and in a lot smaller doses, and find people to delegate some of this stuff to. So in summary, like, you know, if you want to add 30 to 50 pounds of lean muscle to your body, it's as simple as, you know, following my workout routine and then just 3 to 5 years in the gym. If you want to make 6 figures to 250K, high ticket service business, selling hard, 3 to 5 years. Same thing with blowing up on YouTube, or not blowing up, but you know, getting some recognition, getting your face out there. You know, that's going to get you recognized on the street if you have a good product. But it's also being able to say, like, hey, I don't actually, you know, that might not be your value at all. You might want to be really wealthy. You don't care about being jacked. You just want to be healthy, and you don't want to be famous at all. Or maybe you want to be super jacked, but you don't care about fame, and you just want to make a 5-figure living and be able to pay down a house over 30 years or whatever. But recognizing that is so important, I've realized. Because it just it just clarifies your goals, and you're able to run on inspiration instead of motivation. And in terms of being happier, it's just night and day. The only thing I would say is be careful. I mean, sacrificing fame, sacrificing being super jacked, you know, if those aren't your values, it's not a big deal. But you might not think financial freedom's a value, and that's okay. But I would strongly encourage rethinking that, reshaping that, having a real true deep think, and see if you can get that to become a value. Because in my experience, if it doesn't become a value, you just tend to get smacked with the money problem for the rest of your life. And if you can make it one of your values, you're gonna have the inspiration, not the motivation, the inspiration to go out and get after it, to get it solved. And of the three, I think it's by far the most important, because it gives you the freedom to not have to do what you hate, and, you know, to not be tied to one country, to not be tied to one city, not be tied to one boss that you dislike, and it's something that's truly worthwhile. But lots more to come on this, guys. Normally I wait a while before I fully absorb the knowledge, which is why there's some rambling in this video, but I wanted to get it to you today while you're fresh, because I think it's so important. And let me know what you think in the comments section. As always, if you need help with this stuff, revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/coaching. You know, this is something I'm going to be working through with my current clients. It's already making deep changes within me. Really, truly aligning yourself with your values and truly thinking about your values. Much love.